And what were the plays that they brought? They brought plays essentially to entertain the British population that was in the country. And therefore, most of the plays that were brought were melodramas, British melodramas, that would be played to audiences that consisted of both British as well as Indian audiences. But obviously, Indian audiences weren't going to enjoy it as much because it was not, there was no connection, there was no reverberation of experience in this situation. So they had to create another theatrical experience for themselves. And in doing that, what were the models? We had two models. One was the folk theatrical tradition, and we had the classical theatre tradition. Now, the classical theatre tradition followed essentially what in classical Sanskrit theatre is supposed to consist of. And that is the definition of Indian aesthetics itself. When I say Indian aesthetics, I'm including, sorry, I don't mean to be imperialist, but I'm counting all of South Asia because it's a common experience, of the Navras. This is the aesthetic principles behind our theatrical thing is Navras. That is nine emotions, and of course in Sanskrit the ras would be the essence of emotions. So the essence of nine emotions put together in a particular order would give you a certain kind of experience. And this was used even in the art of painting, in music, dance forms, whether it's Bharatanatyam, whether it's Kathak, whether it's Karakali in the south. And all of these made use of the Navras as putting those nine emotions together in different kinds of form, meaning arrangements, would offer you great aesthetic satisfaction. And the Navras idea was very much present in classical Indian theatre. So if you look at any great play written, all the way starting and almost ending with Kalidas, you will find that you always have all the nine emotions portrayed. Without that, you don't feel fully satisfied. Same thing with music. If you listen to classical music, it's the same thing. There's a great emotional range that covers the entire rainbow of nine emotions. And that is when you feel that the performance has been a very good one and that you enjoyed it. You may not necessarily know or need to know even that this is what happens. But the fact is that when in the theatre, it was much more evident in the manner in which those plays were written, produced, and acted. And they were very, very popular for Indian audiences, and they started to get adapted to urban India. And so a lot of that theatrical plays immediately found another way of reaching the audience, which was through the cinema when sound came in. So in 1931, when the film Alam Ara, which was the very first talkie that was made, Alam Ara actually had 36 songs. So what it did was to create a form in which songs became very important. You tell a story and you have songs in between. So audiences, you see, the whole Navras thing is very much like a thali meal. When you have, let's just say, a proper Navras meal would really be a kind of thali meal you would give at a traditional way. you would have a range of foods with any number of different kind of flavors. And then you see there is an overriding kind of character to that meal, which you expect that will provide the person who is eating it kind of satisfaction, which you wouldn't otherwise have got. You know, so there is always, in all aesthetics, everything plays a part. So Indian meal, food, has the same conceptualization if it is a proper full meal. You know, so you have all the 9 satisfactions involved in it. And so this, when it came into the cinema, this became the overriding concept for anybody who was making films. And then the business people, the distributors, who would have to distribute the films for audiences, would immediately say, well, why is this emotion missing? So let me take that simile with food. This has a little less salt, you know, that has a little more of this or that, and different kinds of things. So with the cinema, it was the same thing. A distributor would come and say, oh, well, you know, all this is there, but I'm missing something. And what are you missing? You say, you know, you have this great parting and so on and so forth, but nobody's crying. You know, so you must have that, because that is an emotion that the audience must be touched by, and they should also cry. So these